Hi, I'm Jess Shillingford, and today I want to talk to you briefly about the importance and the transformational power of making learning visible, and why this is one of the principles in in the work that we do in the AQA Language Paper 1 and Paper 2 Accelerator. In fact, it happens across all of the work that we do in our online tutoring sessions. So when a child is aware of how they are assessed. And when they are able to see exactly what they are doing well and what specific skill they need to actually work on, master, or develop, they stop becoming overwhelmed. They actually start to feel motivated and take ownership over their learning because they are able to see progress. Anyone who can see progress mapped out in an effective way is driven and motivated. And this is what creates intrinsic motivation. So last year, I had a lot of learners who had been out of school and who lacked confidence and to some degree motivation. And as soon as they started using the learning charts, which I'll show you an example of in a minute, they made rapid progress. Made like the empowerment and transformation was profound. And it's because they were able to see exactly what they needed to do and know, and it wasn't hidden. There was no confusion. Clarity brings confidence. So let me show you exactly what we do, which is it's a unique to our agency. So in GCSE, it actually doesn't matter which exam board it is, whether it's IGCSE, AQA, EdExcel, the assessment objectives and the skills in English are always the same. But what's really beautiful about this, is that we have broken them down into very specific skills. And what I've found in schools, when I've worked in schools, and when I work with students who come to me, they don't understand the assessment objectives. They don't understand what AO1 actually means, what the skills broken down actually are. And when we actually practice and develop the skill directly in a session, they aren't often in school guided to know with a very clear learning objective and a very clear success criteria the exact skill that they're working on. And this is why my learners are able to make such rapid progress. So, assessment objective one and assessment objective two are broken down into these specific skills. Quotation isn't just can I use a range of quotations, or I think the mark scheme might say something like for the top band, can I use can't remember at the top of my head right now, but a range of can't remember the wording. I'll come back to that. But a range of specific, it's not that word, but quotations judiciously. Can I use these? That's it. Can I use these quotations judiciously? So here, what we see is quotate like can how a student is developing or using or demonstrating the skill of quotation is broken down here. So selecting appropriate quotations, can I select effective words and important individual words and phrases? And can I embed mini embedded quotations into my summary? And again, that then leads us to a different set of skills. So if a child is being taught point, evidence, explain, they're not going to be embedding and they're not going to be reaching those higher bands. Again, we don't teach point, evidence, explain. We actually teach learners critical literacy strategies that will move them into the higher band brackets. So these are higher level and higher order thinking strategies and reading strategies, such as summarizing. And summarizing is again a whole set of skills. So anyway, if we move on, when we look at meaning, for example, what does it mean in the exam, in the mark scheme when they're asking to whether they can infer meaning, can they interpret meaning, etc. Again, we've broken it down so that when a child produces a piece of work, we can actually highlight and break down exactly where they are meeting the specific skills, which suddenly makes the learning visible for them. It makes it very clear. Not only does it make it clear for their progress, but it also makes it clear on where they are meeting the mark scheme and where they need to actually improve their response. Now, when it gets to language analysis, AO2, again, AO2 is broken down into a whole range of skills. Um, so I'm going to just stop the share. Hang on. And say to you, we are starting the AQA Language Paper 1 Accelerator. It's a 12-week course. It runs twice a week. It's 90 minutes long. And the reason they're 90 minutes long is because each lesson, each session, I want the learner to be able to write in time conditions. Because another major problem learners are facing is they are not writing to time. So in the exam situation, it's one thing to know which skills and to develop those skills. And it also is really important that you're learning to write in time conditions. So in a 90-minute session, they get the chance to develop a skill, practice the skill, assess and self-assess and build that confidence in their own self-assessment with clear guidance and have a clear, leave the session knowing exactly where they're at and what they need to do next week to improve. Um, the accelerator courses run for 12 weeks and then they can move on to the language paper 2. Um, the spots are only available for 8 students because I like to keep my cohort small. And I would love to invite you to do a sales call with me or to come on to see whether your child is the right fit for this, where they're currently at, what they're struggling with, how we can help them or not. And yeah, get on it. We start on October the 4th. So don't delay. Spaces will fill up quickly.